I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about when she asks for space.
It's always scary to hear that. It's always scary.
Absolutely.
Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk one-on-one about your situation, you can head to the website and book from there.
That's the only way to book through us. No DMs or anything like that. Just go through the website, nice and easy, and we'll get you set up. So we're going to be talking about an email coaching today, and we're going to be talking about space because, you don't really understand the complexities of dating, but it's kind of like a dance where people want closeness and people want space. And it's very difficult to navigate that, especially when you have attachment issues, okay? Avoidance don't like closeness, and anxious people don't like space. And so we get caught in this dynamic, and a lot of times we have been blindly doing the same things over and over again for years. And then you come to the channel and you learn this stuff, you're like, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. And relationships naturally ebb and flow. There's going to be times in your relationship where you have more availability for closeness, and times where you have to give the relationship space. You have no other choice. Maybe there's responsibilities, work, other things that you need to tend to. And sometimes those things individually for both partners don't align. So that's where a lot of trouble can come too.
Yes.
Somebody might have more availability for closeness when the other person doesn't.
Yeah, and then when one person wants that space, you're going to feel that primal panic, and you'll start to over pursue, contact them more, and literally give them the exact opposite of what they're needing or wanting. Sometimes people have doubts. Sometimes people have doubts about the relationship. And the most confident thing that you can do is to give them that space. And this is why we're constantly telling you have to work on your attachment issues. Because when this happens, the people that are more secure can naturally navigate this.
Oh, yeah. They're able to handle when their partner needs space and be able to say, okay, how can I regulate myself here in this moment? It doesn't mean that space is always comfortable for those who are secure. Even people who are secure sometimes struggle with their partner needing space. They're just able to handle their own emotions and don't lash out at their partner, don't make it this big ordeal. They're able to communicate clearly their own needs and how to make that work.
Yeah. But you have to start to be aware of these things. The more you're aware of it, the easier dating and relationships are going to be. And this goes for long-term relationships too. This isn't just the courting phase or early in dating. You could be with someone for years and they just need some space, and you're coming on too strong, wanting too much of their time. Maybe they're struggling with depression, whatever, and that can cause a breakup, right? So we got an email coaching today from a couple that is in their early 30s. And they've been together for about 4 years. And they got their own place together about 3 years ago. He says, we were planning on starting a family soon. We even had the names of the future kids.
Oh, wow.
And many of you will name your children after me, obviously.
Gregory? Gregory Kenneth?
Somebody did.
Did they
You remember
really?
that?
No.
Somebody named their baby. They gave Craig to the baby's middle name.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's on my Instagram.
Was it a couple that got back together because of you? Or because of your influence?
It was a woman that found our channel after she got pregnant, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we'd have to look at the Instagram. It's on my Instagram story. So Craig obviously works for women or men.
This is my little Craigella.
It's funny. A lot of people make a big deal about having kids' names, though, right? Like, well, we were going to name them this, we were going to name them that. it's just part of the dream, part of the fantasy.
And it's sentimental. Sometimes it's based off of your families, things that you've been thinking about since childhood.
Yeah.
So it just shows how much emphasis we put on our romantic relationships. This is something that's supposed to make our childhood dreams come to fruition. So it's a big deal to plan these types of things with someone.
Yeah, it is. And they were on the verge of looking for a new house. Now, one of the things you have to consider already in this situation is that if you're about to take that next step, a lot of people get scared. A lot of people really rethink things. We're about to get a place together. We're about to have kids together. And now they think to themselves, is this really the person that I want to be with? The secure person is able to step back and say, if you need some space to think about it, okay, go ahead and do what you got to do. It's not easy to do that, but the anxious person and the avoidant person will get very anxious in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
Ironically.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting because those, even who are avoidant, can have a high tolerance for conversation about the future sometimes, but it's very different when it's in reality. And you have to think about it in these terms. Even for things like exposure therapy. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. But one of the first steps they'll do is they'll take you through imagination of what you're afraid of. So they'll have you maybe think of a spider or think of a spider crawling on your hand and see how that feels and process that. And then the next step is, to make it more intense.
Yeah.
To make it more extreme, maybe see it in person, see it in real life. So many people might be able to handle that exposure step of, I can talk about family. Yeah, I can talk about, getting a house and kids and all of that. But then the moment that it takes it to the next step of this is actually happening, that fear kicks in. It feels like the spider is in the room with us.
They go to look at the house and they run away screaming.
Yeah, because it's very different to imagine something versus it actually happening, having to sign contracts, showing up in that house, seeing what it smells like, seeing what the rest of your life might look like.
Yeah, it is very overwhelming. Yeah, so we do see a lot of breakups with those things coming up. So I'm saying that because they were planning on moving in together, or having a family together. They were already living together, and then all of a sudden now we're in a breakup. What happened? He said in the middle of March, after a week of partying, there was a local carnival. She left me. I went to work early and did not wake her up to say goodbye. And then he got an angry text when I left the apartment because he did not kiss her goodbye. Okay, so that seems like a petty reason to get mad at somebody. Like you're looking for excuses to fight. If you're fighting about, you didn't wake me up to say goodbye. Listen, I don't want to be woken up. Do you want to get woken up in the morning for someone to say goodbye?
No, I'm not a morning person.
Yeah, right?
Whatsoever.
You want to sleep.
Yeah, but she might be a morning person.
Yeah, maybe, but it just seems a little petty. At noon, I reached out by text. We did not see each other for nearly a week, and when she came home, she was cold. Now, was she partying that week? Is that what it was? That carnival was in town? That's what it sounds like to me, too.
Yeah. And it seems like they weren't able to repair it. She had all of this time on her own to marinate in that, in that anger of, he didn't send me this, and I'm feeling like he's,
so
being
silly.
neglectful. I mean, it could have been pile up of other things too,
Yeah.
Because we are only seeing one side of the story.
Yeah.
But her sitting with that for a week, on her own, makes me wonder what's going on here. Is there more that could have been communicated? How did he respond? Was there a repair attempt? Or was this just she's out with her friends and now she's, dwelling on this?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I just wanted to share my feelings with her. She often told me to share my emotions with her and not to keep them to myself. It wasn't a text that accused her of anything, quite the opposite. In response, I got a text in which she explained that she needed space, that she wasn't happy for a year now. She has been depressed for a year, and that she needed time for her. Now here we're going to see the spiral, right? She asks for space. He's going to get anxious. What does he do? I did all the mistakes. Email, I begged, and the rest for 3 weeks. The reason she gave me for the breakup is that her needs have changed. That I was too quiet, too much in a lane, that I did not dance and sing, and that she needed someone that made her feel alive. And I'll tell you, the second I read that, when I was doing this coaching, I thought, she just found herself someone that made her feel alive.
Yeah, that, and, I can really see the depression in that statement.
It's a good point.
She's bringing up all these things that she wishes she had, liveliness, excitement, thrill, dancing, singing, things that you really do when you're in, a better mental health state, or that you can do when you're expressing your emotions in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So.
And not only that, when you're depressed and you feel attracted to somebody else, your body feels alive again. You start to get all those chemicals released, and it feels exciting, like a drug, right? So that's part of it too.
And I will say, I do think that there is something about love, about romance. If you really think about it, it's a life source. When two people reproduce, they're creating life, and maybe there's some meaning behind that too. Maybe there is that energy of creation, of being, I don't know, imaginative with someone, being able to explore those things.
Yeah.
So, I hear what you're saying. It sounds like she was lacking some pretty fundamental things in that relationship that she just realized. Which is okay, but it also depends on how you communicate that with a partner.
Yeah.
And if you give them that opportunity to also work on those things. I'm curious on his end if he felt that too. Did he feel like the relationship after several years was getting to a place of complacency? Did he notice that she had been depressed for the last year, or did that come as a complete shock to him?
Yeah. Well, and now when he's going through this, of course, he's going to be in the overwhelmed state of anxiety where he's not going to think clearly about, was he really happy, or how happy was he leading up to this. Her family told her that it wasn't a problem to be with somebody grounded, but for her, it has become a real problem. She told me that if she had spoken to me, we could have found a solution, but it was too late. How horrible does that feel for him?
Yeah.
If I had told you about the problem, we could have fixed it, but now it's too late. You know what I mean? How frustrating for him. It's like, you're just telling me now I couldn't have fixed it, and now I can't fix it?
Yeah.
And that she doesn't have any romantic feelings for me anymore. Yeah. Well, I wonder why that is. Because she found someone that makes her feel alive. That's my guess. At first, she didn't want to speak. A week or two later, she asked me how I was doing at work and in my life. I went along and offered to grab a bite to eat. She refused. Too early, not comfortable, and that she is speaking to someone else. No surprise there. I did put boundaries from that point on, but a week later, she was at the apartment, and once again, she began to chat. She showed me pictures of her new place and wore the necklace I gave her last Valentine's Day. Those mixed messages.
That is a super
and you know
mixed
she did that on purpose.
Intentional.
Of course it was.
You don't just, this dusty old thing. Why not wear it today?
Oh,
no,
right.
that was intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, why? Because she doesn't really know where it's going to go with this new guy, so she doesn't want to get rid of him completely yet, right? That's what I think is a big part of it.
I do also want to entertain the idea that she might have said that to get him to back off. This is final, this is my decision, I'm already talking to someone else, so forget about it, I need to move on with my new life. I want to entertain that idea.
Nope, it's certainly possible. But I do think there's somebody else.
There could be.
Because she was partying for a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But to the seriousness of speaking to someone for it to get further, possibly.
No, she's drinking at a carnival or whatever it was, and somebody just starts chatting her up, and all of a sudden, next thing she knows, she's in the fun house. If you know what I mean.
No. Okay.
All right, we're going to keep moving.
All right.
She told me that these weren't signs and that she was committed to the breakup. Oh, so she gives you these mixed messages, but no, they're not signs. You can't, guys, you cannot call a woman out for something like this. Yes, we both agree that this was intentional, but you cannot call them out because she's going to deny it.
And she's going to double down.
Yeah, right? So when you're in a situation like this, you don't try and call out somebody's interest level, even though this was clearly intentional.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And we say it all the time. When you do see mixed messages from someone, it's often a reflection of their own internal mixed feelings. So keep that in mind. I'm also curious about her doubling down here. I wonder if there's a part of her that wants him to chase too. From what she's telling us, she's been depressed for a year. She doesn't feel alive. I'm also hearing between the lines that she doesn't feel wanted. She doesn't feel desired. So if she's feeling like, oh, maybe if I wear this necklace and he comments on it, or he tries, or he tries to grab my attention this way or that way, then that will give me that feeling of being desired, of feeling alive, feeling like he's putting in effort. That might be something more unconscious. I don't know how conscious that is.
Yeah.
But just another thought, why is she giving mixed messages and then doubling down that she's not?
Yeah, she could definitely want that attention, but I would not chase in this situation.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
because adults need to be able to communicate clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's right, but I wonder if that's part of the motive there.
I do think you're right. She wants the attention of it. All right. She told me that these weren't signs and that she was committed to the breakup, but she has been blowing up my phone with messages and calls for non-important things. Who gets the iron? Sounds like an indirect direct to me. For the past week. Or at least her excuse is to reach out. I told her that if she wants to stay in contact, it was to find solutions to the situation and that I could not be friends with her. Good for him. For now, she does not want to speak to me about solutions and continues to contact me for the last administrative points and asks me how I am doing. She has been taking more than a week to move out and she's still not finished. I am doing the work for myself. I see a professional and I am glad for the work, but I was wondering if this is going anywhere and if she could ever come back. Okay, so I think, maybe she was feeling overwhelmed by, idea of getting married and having kids. Scared her a bit. She wasn't ready for that. She started feeling attracted to somebody else. Maybe she, because of the depression and feeling all those feelings for somebody new made her feel alive again. But the likelihood of this rebound lasting is slim. Okay? And usually it doesn't. So you leave her alone. You give her all the space in the world. You don't contact her. And you let her reach out to you when she's ready. You've already said you can't be friends. You're probably going to have to double down on it. I think this woman will continue to reach out to him with excuses and say, look, if you want to get together and hang out and see how it goes, great, but I can't be platonic. What do you think?
I think this age group is also really difficult because you said that they're in their early 30s. Yep. So I can see how probably half of their friends or their social circle is probably doing those things like buying a house, settling down, preparing for those next stages in their lives. And the other half is partying for a week straight in Carnival. So I think she had this taste of what maybe the other side is doing. She was on this one path and then she gets a taste of the other path. And that can put someone in a bit of an existential crisis there too. What am I doing with my life? Is this going to be the rest of my life? Are there experiences that I want to have before I settle down? So it seems like she might be a bit at that cross point. And that's okay to experience when you're in a relationship. You just got to be able to communicate those things and let your partner in on that. I wonder what it would have been like. Which she didn't. I wonder what it would have been like had she said, come with me to Carnival. Let's go party together. Let's go explore together. I wonder if he would be up for it. I wonder also if there's things that he might have been missing. So if he's watching this, I really hope that he's reflective back on the relationship. And I hope that you also learn more about depression, how it impacts people.
Yeah.
I wonder if looking back, he'll realize, man, this was a sign and that was a sign that I missed. And that was another sign that I missed. I find that sometimes people who are very goal-directed, house, kids, sometimes they skim past over how their partner is feeling.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when you're together with someone for years.
Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts.
What do you think? She's going to come back? You think she'll at least want to revisit things?
I'm thinking about depression. And for those who struggle with depression, a lot of times it's a loss of purpose. A lot of times it's a feeling of not belonging. So I think in a situation where she does have a stronger support system, maybe she found a bit of that, partying, meeting people, interacting with people. Ultimately, with the purpose piece, if family and buying this house, if she did have those values with you, I think she is likely to reconsider, but she's going to need to feel alive again.
Yeah.
You know, this has been something that she's been lacking. I think she also has got to learn some communication skills too.
And he shouldn't be so eager to take her back.
Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be tough. You know, you need to be able to trust that your partner will let you in on what's going on with them.
Yeah.
I'm also, I hate to say it this way, but I'm glad that this happened now rather than them making these commitments. And then she's sitting there with, you know, children to take care of, thinking, oh, you know, now I'm feeling dead. You know, I'm not feeling alive. And we know that, especially with having children, there's things like postpartum depression. There's different stages of life that bring up different mental health issues. So learning those communication skills now are really, really important.
Yeah. I think when she does reach out, you gotta take it slow and make her work to get you back. I know you feel like you messed up here, but she did just as much, if not more, because she didn't communicate with you. So don't be so eager to get back with somebody who jumps to somebody new right away and, you know, walks away from you so quickly. They need to work to get your trust back. And if you don't make her work to get your trust back, she won't really value you so much because she's not worked to get this relationship repaired. People value the things that they work for. So, but I do think he'll hear from her. All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.